Hello everyone, welcome back. I did a little bit of homework again, and this time what I did is I tapped into some more iron mines because we were running short of iron for steel. So I grabbed this patch over here, I grabbed this small one right here. I'm just combining that into the other two belts with splitters. Normally I wouldn't run such a long belt for ore. I would probably use a train in a case like this. But I didn't want to get into trains just because I'm trying to keep this playthrough simple. However, if you would like to see me set up a basic train system, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to do that if you really want to see it. Right, so I brought this down to add some additional iron to the steel line. So that's given it almost a full red belt now. And then I also tapped into this big coal patch over here. This is going to the electrical plant. I added another 20 boilers. So this is, the beginnings of a third line. I didn't do the other side yet because we have enough power at the moment. As you can see, we're not quite using half. But we're running 2 belts of coal now, 2 red belts, to make sure that we keep that fed, because we were starting to get low, and I don't want to run out of juice. And everything else seems to be running pretty well. Copper lines are nearly saturated. I would say not. This one is not quite completely saturated. You can see the belts of ore coming in are not precisely full. I did bring in more copper. I tapped into this copper line over here, which we were not doing previously. We need a radar, so I added 2 more lines coming in. But still, the belts for copper are not quite completely saturated, but we're doing okay. I mean, we can see that we've got enough copper for circuits. We could always grab some copper here and bring it over if we need it. On the red circuits, I was noticing that towards the top here, the green circuits in plastic were running out. It wasn't quite making it all the way to the end. So what I did, I know this looks a lot more complicated than it really is, but I have a full line of green circuits and a full line of plastic coming up here. And what I did is split each of those into 2. So half of that line is going here, the other half of the green line is going here, and then those feed the first half of the red circuits. And then the other half of each of those 2 combine onto this one, and then I bring this up to feed the upper half. All right, so basically, instead of having half of a plastic line and half of a green circuit line for the whole thing, I'm now able to use a full line for the whole thing, if that makes sense. And everything else seems to be running swimmingly. We're making our science packs. I think those are all running. Yep, they're all running. This one is not. That guy, I think, is waiting for a speed module. Speed modules are a little slow, I guess. Maybe it could just be because I wasn't making enough red circuits until I got that issue fixed. So, looks like we should be doing okay now. In any case, we got the rocket base research finished, so we can start to set that up. So let's take a look here. The rocket research gives us several things. First of all, it gives us the ability to make a rocket silo, which we want to get started with. Now you can see that the ingredients for that are pretty extensive. We could craft it by hand. We don't need a machine for it necessarily. But we need 1,000 steel, 1,000 concrete, 100 pipes, 200 blue circuits, and 200 electric engine units. So let's get started with gathering that stuff up. Now for the blue circuits, we can just grab some off the belt here until we have 200. Looks like another 50 will do the trick. This is going to slow down our research a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we got our 200 blue circuits. 1,000 steel is not too much of a problem either. We can pull that off of the bus. Let me just get past some of this other stuff. All right, so we're going to need 10 stacks of steel. Go ahead and pick that up. And again, by just grabbing all this stuff off of the bus, it's going to slow down our science research for a while, but that's okay. We have all the research that we need to finish the game. The research we're doing now is just, for the sake of efficiency more than anything else. I'll show what we got there. 735. Need a few more stacks. Let me get rid of the coal. Got some iron ore I don't want to hold on to. And there we go. All right, so we got 1,000 plus a few more for whatever. Let's see, I'm just getting rid of that stone. Okay. What else do we need? We need electric engine units, which we'll get to in a second, and we need some pipe, which we can grab. Now, one thing we're not making yet, of course, is... Actually, let me get rid of the landfill as well. Oh, yeah, I don't need that. Okay. One thing we're not making yet is concrete, so we'll start making some concrete. First, let's grab some pipe. Okay, now concrete requires stone brick, iron ore, and water. So let's go ahead and set that up. And that gives us 10 concrete every 10 seconds, which is about 1 per second. So we'll set up like two, let's make 4, let's have 4 machines making concrete. What makes concrete a little bit of a pain is the fact that you need iron ore. So I'm going to put this somewhere where iron ore and water and stone brick are all fairly close together, and I think this is probably a good place for it. We'll set it up down here. All right, so let's just do. Actually, let's arrange them this way. We'll arrange them like so. All right, and we'll put the water on the outside. And then we can have stone brick. Actually, let's do it like this. And actually, I think we can do stone brick and iron ore on one belt. Let's see, this is going to need 5 every 2.5 seconds, since I have 4 machines. Yeah, so that's like 2 a second. Okay. Yeah, so what we'll do is let's put an underground right there. All right, so there's our stone brick. We can bring in iron ore right there. And then we can split these like so. Okay, and then we'll connect these here with a pipe. Oops. Okay, and then we'll pick up some water. Whoops, over here at the lake. So we need an offshore pump. There we go. All right. And then, yeah, we'll just put the power poles like that, and then we'll need one here in the center as well. Okay, and then I'm just going to have these go into chests. I don't recall the stack size with concrete. Does it tell me here? No, it doesn't. I think it might be 100. So let's limit these chests to 5 each. And that'll give us 1,000. Oops. Okay. And we'll throw in a couple lights, and then we just need to bring in our iron ore. So let's get that taken care of. I guess we'll have to bring it down from up here. All right, let's, I'll just tap into this one here. Now, the nice thing about concrete is that it gives you an even greater running speed when compared to the brick that we have been using. So if you wanted to start replacing your paths, your running paths, your walking paths with concrete, that will increase your walking speed. Oops. One more there. All right. I'm not sure that I'm going to have enough belt to finish the job here. Almost. Okay. So let me, actually I'll just grab some iron plate here quickly so I can finish that off, and then we'll go grab some more belt. There we go. Okay. So once that iron ore gets over here, then we'll start making concrete. I do need to get some inserters put on here, however. What do we need? 1 and 5. Okay, so we can do a yellow inserter on each side. Just have to wait for the ore to arrive. Okay, so while we're making concrete, which is going to take a little while, we need to get 200 electric engine units as well. So let's get working on that. And in this case, I think what we can do is just pull it from over here, where we are already making electric engine units. Okay, so I'll put a little underground belt there. I'll get one of my filter inserters and a chest. Let's put a power pole, And we'll tell that only to get electric engine units. And these stack, I think, in 50s, if I'm not mistaken. So let's limit that to 4. Now the other thing that we could do is if you make one of these red or green wires, you can connect the inserter to the chest. And then what we can do is we can tell it to enable itself as long as electric engine units are less than or equal to, well, no, not equal to, as long as electric engine units in the chest are less than 200. Okay, and then you can take that filter off. So you can see, if you press the Alt key, you can see that there's a green light on the inserter. That means that it is currently enabled, and that's because there are less than 200 engines. So that's a way that you can control how much of a particular item goes into a chest by telling the inserter only to work as long as the number of items in the chest are less than the number that you want. That's a very useful way to do that. Alright, so let me, yeah, so these stack in 50s. Alright, so we've got 99 in there. We're going to have to wait a little while for that to finish. In the meantime, we're not going to get any more purple science packs because they won't be getting the engines, but that's okay. We need to get our rocket silo built. Alright, so let's come and check on our concrete. Alright, looks like we're doing okay there. Yeah, and those do stack in hundreds, as we suspected. And we could do something similar there. I'll make a few more wires. So like in this case, what we can do is we can connect all these together. We can connect the two chests together. Okay, and when you connect the two chests, they will add their contents together. And we can see that if we add another red circuit to this power pole. If you hover over the power pole, you can see what the signal is. So you can see that signal 410. That's because we have 208 in one and 202 in the other. So on that red circuit network, because these are all connected, there's a signal that says concrete is 410. So what we can do is we can enable these inserters, and we can tell them to only work while concrete is less than 1,000. Okay, and then you can see the red light turn on. You can copy paste those conditions, by the way. That's what I was doing. Shift right click and then shift left click to paste. So now these will run until there's a total of 1,000 or more in both of those chests. And then you can let this run for the rest of the game, because once we grab concrete for the rocket silo, you can let it make another 1,000, and then you can grab them, lay down some paths. You can upgrade your walking path just by placing concrete on top, like that. So you can see that you run a little bit faster on the concrete. I think it's only a 10 or 20% difference. It's not a big difference. And then when you do that, you pick up the brick that you had down before. Can we put brick? Yeah, and you can put brick on top of concrete to change. I'm going to change it back now just because I'd rather have the concrete until we get the 1,000 that we need. Okay, which won't take too much longer. Alright, so I'm going to break here for a moment while we wait for those materials to accumulate, and then we will build the rocket silo and figure out where to put it. I'll be back soon. Okay, and we're back. We now have 200 engine units, so I'm going to pick up that inserter. I already picked up the 1,000 pieces of concrete. Alright, so now we can make the rocket silo, so let's go ahead and craft that. That takes 30 seconds to make. Now, another very important ingredient to the rocket silo are productivity modules. Now, when we start building a rocket, in order to launch the rocket, we're going to need to have 1,000 each of rocket control units, rocket fuel, and low density structures. That's how you get a rocket launched. You put 1,000 of each of those in there, and then it'll launch. So let's go ahead and place the silo down. Where should we put it? Well, we put it over here. We could put it in the middle. No, I don't want to get in the way of the bus. Yeah, so we'll put the rocket silo up here, let's say, and then we can figure out where to put the items that go into it. So, rocket silo consumes 4 megawatts of power. That's quite a lot. Let's see how much we've got. Okay, yeah, so we're doing good on power. That shouldn't be a problem. Let's go ahead and power it up. All right, and then you can see that we need to make rocket parts. So every rocket part is 1% of a rocket launch. So once we make 100 rocket parts, the rocket will take off. And then each rocket part takes 10 each of low density structure, rocket fuel, and rocket control units. So one thing that I always recommend is that we use productivity modules on the rocket silo. What productivity modules will do for you, if you look at the productivity module 3s, it increases energy consumption, it decreases speed, but it increases productivity by 10% for each one. So by putting 4 of these in the rocket silo, and we know we can put 4 because there are 4 module slots, we'll get a 40% boost in productivity. And what that means is that for every 1 rocket part we make, we get a 40% bonus towards the next one. So by doing that, we only need something like 730 or so of each of those 3 items. And because all 3 of these items are very expensive in terms of resources, steel, copper, and plastic, solid fuel, processing units, and speed modules, because those are so expensive, we really want to do that. So, and those productivity modules do take a while to produce. You can see that a productivity module 3 requires 5 blue, 5 red, and 5 productivity module 2s. The productivity module 2s require productivity module 1s, red and blue, and the productivity module 1s, of course, require red and green. So what I'd like to do is get something set up to where we can start making these modules. And I'll put that over here. Let's see. This is only going to be temporary until we get the 4 that we need. All right, so let's make 4 of these, making productivity module 1s. If you look at the time, it's 15 seconds for productivity module 1, 30 seconds for a 2, and 60 seconds for a 3. So I'm going to do like a 4 into 2 into 1 type of arrangement here. All right, well, let me put this somewhere else because that's going to get in the way. Let's see. 1, 2. Okay, and then we'll keep mining productivity going. All right. There's 4, 2, and then the 1 we can put right there. All right, so these will be productivity module 1s. which, as I mentioned, take red and green circuits. So we'll just put a combined belt of red and green on those. The productivity module 2s take red and blue, and then the productivity module 3 takes red, blue as well. So we can have a belt of red and blue circuits coming up here to feed these 3 machines, like this. And then we'll put a chest right there to take out the level 2s. And then we can have this insert. Let me put this somewhere else. We can have this insert into a chest right here until we get 4. All right. So let's get some power put in for these guys. I think we'll need another one there. We can put in another light. Okay. All right, so then we're going to have these insert into there. All right, so let's go ahead and get ourselves set up with red and green and blue circuits. Now I want to use, I just want to use some splitters from here to get that going. Okay, so there's the red and green. And then over here we need red and blue. So actually let's split this again. There, and that'll give us the red and blue. I do need inserters here as well. Okay, and then I just need to bring blue circuits up here, and everything will be good to go. Yeah, let's pull it from the bus. There we go. Okay, so these are starting to get their productivity modules. Once the blue circuits make their way up here, then we should see the 2s start to run, and then the 3s will start to get made. All right. Now, a lot of people who end up making very large bases will use, this needs to be red, we'll use productivity and speed module level 3s all over the base, because they do make quite a difference in how fast your base can produce things and how much resources they require. Productivity modules in particular are extremely useful for reducing the amount of raw, iron, copper, plastic, etc. that you need to make your base run. They can make a dramatic difference. Because this is a fairly short playthrough, I'm not going to go to those lengths. But if you were going to end up, playing 100 or so hours on a map and make it a very large base, I would definitely recommend that you use speed modules and productivity modules. Okay, so all right, so we just need to wait for this to finish till we have 4 of the productivity modules. When those are done, we'll insert those into the rocket silo, and then in the next episode we're going to start setting up the production of the low density structures, rocket fuel, and rocket control units. So until then, I will see you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.